My life now is worlds apart from where I thought it would be 10 years ago when I got rejected pre-interview by every medical school that I applied to. So in this video, I'm going to talk through my journey, what I did to help me get to this point, and the things I would have told myself looking back with the knowledge that I have now that would have helped me through coping with a really rocky situation. If you don't know who I am, my name's Saramed and I am a doctor working in London. I make videos about health. If that's something you're into, hit the subscribe and the bell so you can stay in the loop. For everyone who does know me, welcome back to the channel. It's great to see you here again, and I will make it worth your while with this video. My aim here is not just to help people applying to medical school, but also anyone who's dealing with rejection. Now, looking back to when I was 17, I was all sorts of incompetent. I had a massive ego. I was absolutely in love with World of Warcraft at the time, and I spent most of my time actually playing that game. I racked up 365 days played within 5 years, which is essentially every dispensable hour in the day. So that was my priority at the time. At school, I was still doing well. I have no idea how, but because of my achievements in science and also the fact I liked people, and that my eldest sister was a doctor, I thought medicine would be worth a try. So I remember speaking to her at the time, and she told me, stop, don't do it. The career is hard, and considering the amount of effort that you put in, you actually don't get paid enough for that. So being the stubborn teenager that I was, I thought, oh, well, my sister's saying I can't do this, so surely I should do it, right? Not only am I gonna do it, but I'm gonna thrive in doing so. So I send off my applications, and I don't really do any studying for the exams that back then it was called the UK CAT and BMAT, and because they basically were IQ tests is what I was told, and you can't study for an IQ test since, you know, by definition it assesses aptitude. Well, that's what I thought. So I did this UK CAT, and the maximum score is 800, and I get 640, which is just above average, since 600 was the average at the time. And for the BMAT, I did very poorly, and so essentially I got rejected pre-interview by all the medical schools, and it wasn't anything to do with my grades. It was purely on the entrance exams. So that was probably the most difficult thing that I'd had to face in my entire life that far, because I'd basically breezed through most things before that, and it was a tough pill to swallow. So what I did was, really, I had a few options, you know, access course, different degree, or maybe even just take a year out and apply again. So there were a few people in the community that had success applying again the next year. So I thought, okay, well, I'll give it a chance. Why not? So I took a job up in HSBC Bank, and reapplied the year after getting some work experience, and thinking I knew what medicine was all about, with a more polished application. I took a course to help me with the UK CAT by Kaplan, which was incredible, and I got 720 out of 800 the next year after doing that course, which, I mean, considering it's an aptitude test, there shouldn't really be a gap that's that wide, but you can definitely prepare for it. So that's a lesson learned for me. And I managed to secure 2 interviews. One was in Manchester, one was in Newcastle. And my Manchester interview went really well. It had a group stage where basically you had to kind of discuss with people that you didn't know about a case that was a completely new scenario. And then you had a MMI type stations where you had one on your personal statement, one on medical news, and one on ethics. So the day I got my offer through from Manchester Medical School was the happiest day of my life. And I'm not married, so there's no wife to get annoyed that it's not my wedding day or anything like that yet. Although it has to be a pretty good wedding to overtake that. And you know, here I am now. As I progressed through medical school, you know, I've really appreciated what I had because I had to work so hard for it. And also, you know, when you photocopied 140-page mortgage documents in HSBC, medical school is actually a lot more fun. So, you know, I did amazing. Got honours in my undergraduate degree, managed to get a master's degree as well, and graduated in the first decile. Went and did an academic foundation program in Brighton, which is a lot of fun, and then got a GP training job in London with a score that skipped the interview stage for the MSRA, which is the entrance exam into specialties here in the UK. I had a happy ending, but it was a roller coaster of a journey. And now that's the story, but I really want to break it down to be able to help you that's watching suffer less than I did with anything. Rejection hurts. You know, let's say you're going up to a girl that you like or a boy that you like, whatever you enjoy, and you say, oh, hey, how are you doing? Try and introduce yourself, and they say, not interested, leave me alone, get away, you're disgusting. All right. I mean, yes, they could say that. So what do? You know, actually it's a surprisingly similar situation to being rejected by medical school. Almost hurts as much. Basically, your first thought should be, is this what I really want? A lot of us kind of wander into avenues without fully thinking the decision yet. And that's not a question that should be answered in 1 minute, 2 minutes. That should be pondered over a significant amount of time, maybe a week. Because there is a cognitive bias that we humans suffer from, and that is the fact that if we don't have something or can't get it, then we want it more. So really, is that what you really want? Your answer either comes as yes or no, right? If no, then that's all right. Decide what it is that you really want, and you can try and find your purpose. If yes, that is what you really want, then you need to think about why you got rejected, okay? What's the root cause analysis of the problem that you're facing? Keeping with the dating analogy, the rejection reasons can be internal or external. External are things outside of yourself. So, you know, maybe he or she thought you're not their type, or they were feeling particularly rough on the day, or the weather wasn't good. And internal are things about yourself. You hadn't taken pride in your appearance, you don't have a successful career, or your reputation is bad. In terms of medical school, those things are grades are internal, or how much preparation you've done for the interview and how much work experience you have. And external will be how the admissions team were feeling on the day, whether they went to private school or not, or ridiculously high competition ratios. The thing about external factors is you can't control them. And so if you're even asking yourself about these external factors or thinking about them, stop right now. Because no productive conversation ever started with a discussion about the external factors, since there's absolutely nothing that you can do to change those things. Just focus on the internal factors, things that you can control, and you will be so much closer to where you want to be in the future by doing that. The idea of focusing on things that you can control came to me from a book by Dr. Stephen Covey. It's called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Now, I picked that up during 4th year medical school, and I wouldn't be exaggerating if I said that it was life-changing. Basically, in there, he talks about circles of concern and circles of influence. Circle of influence are the things that you have control over. Circle of concern are the things that you're worried about. And if your circle of concern is bigger than your circle of influence, then you're causing yourself unnecessary angst. Pick yourself up a copy in the description below. Even if you just get the audiobook, it's completely free, just with a trial of Audible. And so just listen to it when you're driving somewhere or walking or on your commute to work. And I guarantee you will thank me for telling you about it. Then after you've done the root cause analysis, you need to find ways to be able to repair the things that were broken. Like with me, it was obviously that I hadn't done enough preparation. I didn't really know what it took to be a doctor, and so I didn't do as much as I should have done. But at least I decided, yes, okay, action is take a course in that topic, and then that will help to improve my chances when I apply again next time. The other thing as well is that obviously this is just one thing, and the key is to not sacrifice other areas of your life because of the rejection in this one field. For example, it would have been very easy for me to sit around for a year, I was living with my parents and not actually do anything productive, just continue to play World of Warcraft. But I decided that getting a job would be more productive. And so that's what I did. And then the money that I saved in doing that job, I actually used to buy a house within 2 or 3 years of medical school. And now the price of that has gone up exponentially. So looking back, it was actually a good thing that I got rejected from medical school. Now, Steve Jobs has an incredibly good quote, and he says that the stars only align when you look backwards. So it's always tough to see why something happens when it's challenging you and making you feel awful, but that doesn't mean that there's no future for you at all. So that's been my journey and how I dealt with the most challenging situation in my life so far. I know, first world problems, isn't it? But I hope that was useful to any of you that are suffering from rejection and don't know how to proceed. There is always a way forward, and if I've helped you find that, then that would have made this video worthwhile for me. So if you have found it useful, then just stick up that virtual thumb. For me, that will boost the algorithm and help YouTube show this content to more people who will also find value from it. Have you read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People? What did you think of it? Let me know in the comment section below. And I've been really enjoying making these videos recently, so that's why this one came out quicker than expected. Usually they're one a week, so keep an eye out for that as well. My name's Sermed, it's been a pleasure. Stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you next week. Take care.